This is What's Up the Sports podcast for Thursday, the 6th of October. I'm Randy Kure coming at you live via Twitter Spaces. My thanks to you if you are downloading this episode via your favorite podcatcher or even watching this on YouTube. It felt like yesterday that we saw Steph Curry lift his fourth NBA championship, his first as Finals MVP trophy, but lo and behold, snap of a finger, the NBA preseason has already started with the regular season of the 22-23 campaign less than 2 weeks away. It's always a thrill to welcome to the podcast one of the most dedicated cats. I am thrilled to know he is the owner of NBA Buzz and Inside Buzz with approximately a paltry 3 million followers. His name is Mikey Domagala. He is joining us from Manhattan, believe it or not his home office in Long Island. But Mikey, as always, thank you so much. How are you?
Randy, as always, it's great to talk with you. As you said, I'm dedicated, so I'm a working man right now. I'm kind of doing two things at once, and right now I'm my lunch break, or dinner break. So it's always nice to be with you.
No, I really appreciate squeezing me in. Really hope you're doing well, and really looking forward to talking some hoops. And we will be talking about a few teams, more so that may be taking a step back as we prepare for the upcoming season. There's some very interesting storylines within Mikey's Long Island borough of Brooklyn. Some rapid fire that I like to call big deal or no big deal, as well a very inspiring one-on-one feature Mikey had that you could catch on Inside Buzz with a one-time convicted felon who who turned his life around courtesy of sports and particularly with basketball. So that being said, Mikey, very quickly, of course, following you on your social media channels. Of course, the off season was roughly the middle of June. Couldn't really tell with all the incredible content that you've posted. Doesn't really look like you had much of a summer, but did you get to do anything worthwhile as the quote unquote off season took place there?
Yeah, so technically there's no off season in, content. You still got to be fresh. You still got to put out, the newest rumors with free agency and trades and everything like that, the draft. But yeah, it goes by in like a blink of an eye now. Like you said, Steph just hoisted the trophy and here we are at the season starting. I'm like, oh my God, there's no let up. But no, it is a break of the norm, I would say, in the off season of not putting out as much, not going as hard, and I'm still on top of things, but it's a little less with less things going on. So yeah, I did a lot of fun things with the family and my girlfriend and stuff like that. So it was a pretty successful off season, definitely a quick one. So
yeah, it certainly was. I can remember when you were taking part in the Tokyo Olympics there as well, and it just seems like it's a lot easier, quote unquote, to post content during an NBA season, but during the off season, it's definitely that much harder. And you couldn't really tell that you took a day off. Really and truly mean that. Of course, there's a lot of things that did take place during the summer, and we'll certainly get into that. Before we get into what we can expect for the upcoming season, Mikey, I'd love to learn what your thoughts were of the season that that passed us. Of course, Luka Doncic, for example, actually made it to a Western Conference final. You saw a real emergence with the likes of Ja Morant. James Harden found a new home in Philadelphia. Ben Simmons, and of course, like I said, we'll get into whatever's going on in Brooklyn. But what in your mind stood out with regards to the last season?
I mean, it was the season of the Lakers collapse. I mean, yeah, there were some injuries and stuff like that, but who didn't think a LeBron, Russell Westbrook led team wouldn't make the playoffs? I mean, let alone a play-in game. So that in itself is a huge surprise. Another one, the Phoenix Suns collapse. I know you mentioned Luka. It's like Luka's like their daddy now. He owns them. after that horrid playoff series against the Mavericks. I thought they were going to go all the way, get another finals appearance, and that just took a turn for the worst. And then Boston choked a little bit in the finals. I thought they could play better than they did, but they're still, a young up and coming team. Really no worries about that. Look at Tatum and Brown. They're like 24, 25, making their first finals. I mean, come on. It's only up from there. So yeah, there are some interesting storylines, and we'll touch on this season. This season is going to be a lot of fun coming up.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the Lakers, and as you said, as we both said, that we are going to be talking about not only the Boston Celtics, but the LA Lakers as well. But, I guess in a roundabout sort of way, same old when it comes to the NBA champions, that, of course, being the Golden State Warriors. They won their fourth NBA championship with the big three of Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry. Curry, of course, won MVP, Finals MVP for the first time in his incredible career. Where there was before he actually claimed that fourth championship, and specifically the Finals MVP, there seemed to be a resistance, if you will, if Steph Curry is one of those top NBA players. I mean, I guess to back up a second, were you one to agree with that narrative? And now that he has won a Finals MVP and a fourth championship, can he be considered a top 10 player? What do you think his legacy is now?
Yeah, I'd say he's skating right around top 10. I don't know if he's just there yet. I think, a couple more dominant seasons, which he'll have, maybe another championship will put him right there in the top 10. Top 10 most influential. I mean, probably top 3 most influential in NBA history. But with the Finals MVP stuff, yeah, people would knock him for that. And if you think about it, like they kind of gave Andre Iguodala that one just to give it to him because he played well. I don't think he should have gotten that one. I think Steph should have got it. But Steph really, turned it up in the 2022 NBA Finals because of that. He knew if he didn't get it this time and they won again, the haters would be all over him. So he turned it up. He won them almost all those games in the finals. And yeah, pretty much cemented his legacy as top 12, I would say, maybe top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, see, with me, I think the difference is that I think Steph Curry is the main reason why the talk of moving the 3-point line back started with Steph Curry. Where he came out of nowhere just to be now, of course, he's the best three-point shooter in NBA history. Obviously, the likes of Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, those are fixtures, pillars, definite top 10s. To me, I just wonder if Steph Curry is a difference maker because now the outside game is just so much more pronounced. And I just have every reason to think that Steph Curry is perhaps the main reason why.
Yeah, I mean, he's the main reason why that we're in this I'll call it the flamethrower league right now, where I mean it's always been like, you feed the hot hand, but right now it's like a coach won't exactly yank somebody out or think twice if, say, Kevin Durant just pulls up from a deep 5 possessions in a row, and say he hits 3 out of 5. It's like, oh, there's 3 threes right there. This is good. But if you do that, say 15 years plus ago, a coach will yank you out. What the hell are you doing shooting all these threes with, your big men down there, or nobody to box out, or nobody in a rebounding position, but it's just a different game. So I would say that's where Steph really changed the game. Pulling up from 3 like it's nothing is just no problem now throughout the whole league.
Yeah, and it'd be just obviously the Warriors have every reason to contend for a 5th championship under Steph Curry's reign. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in by the Bay Area. So Mikey, of course, it is no secret that you and I pledge allegiance to a couple of teams in the Atlantic. Of course, my Toronto Raptors. If you are watching via YouTube, you can see the nice Toronto Raptors display and a Raptors zip up that I'm wearing. Mikey pledges allegiance to the New York Knicks, of course. But there's a couple of teams in the Atlantic. Well, I guess the other three teams in the Atlantic have some interesting storylines. We'll of course start with the Boston Celtics. They did have an incredible season last season, making it to the NBA Finals, and lo and behold, they have a real issue now with Ime Udoku not being allowed to coach this season. He was suspended when word came out of a relationship that he had with a female associate. I don't want to get into the whole narrative of whether he should be suspended for the year or not, but with Boston now going through this kind of change, like, are the Celtics in trouble with Udoku not at the helm?
Well, they are. You can call them an NBA Finals / almost championship team. So that in itself shows that they have like a really talented crop of players there. Just got Malcolm Brogdon to, join the squad. That's a great addition, whether he's going to start or even be sixth man, easily get sixth man of the year, that guy, if he were to do that there. But yeah, there's going to be some issues in, a new playbook, new relationship with their interim coach. Now, I think he was an assistant. He just slid up, but still, it's all different. They're used to Udoka maybe calling certain plays or his intensity, and a random 180 out of nowhere could maybe shed a couple wins. Be the difference between wins and losses on the season. So I don't see that much of a difference, but maybe some growing pains with this new coach. I could see where they go on a little more skids than they, wouldn't have with Udoka. But yeah, I mean, they're the Boston Celtics just in the finals. Tatum and Brown, getting better. Brogdon in there. I could see them, atop the East again.
It just what really is intriguing to me is if Boston was able to have a strong season, if they make a deep run into the playoffs without Udoku in the as a head coach. Like, what do you think the consensus would be if that was to take place? Is it more so a testament of the Celtics having a strong team? Is it more so a realization of coaching not making much of a difference? Like, where in the which side of the fence do you think you are with regards to that?
I would say probably 70% that is the players and how they're going to play. And then the 30% is, the play calling, the intensity, the player to coach relationship. So, yeah, I would say 70-30 on that.
Yeah, no, it's obviously you do think of a person like Greg Popovich, and you have to think that he was such a huge difference maker.
And well, to hop in there, I'd say with different coaches, it's different things. Like Udoka's still pretty new to the Celtics, and then there's Popovich, who's an all-time legend. Years and years of relationships with Duncan and them at the time. So you take Popovich out of those teams, now that's where it's almost like 60-40. It's Popovich. You know what I mean? So it's levels depending on the coach, I would say.
Yeah, no. I completely hear what you're saying there for sure. Sticking with the Atlantic Division, Mikey, oh my, the Brooklyn Nets are just a franchise that I don't know if that Brooklyn Air is a jinx, but they didn't really have these kind of issues when they were in the swamp in Jersey. I mean, they come to Brooklyn. They had Mikhail Prokhorov as the owner. They made the trade for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. They gave up a couple of picks, and no big deal. It was just the likes of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown who were eventually those picks. But now, of course, everything that happened with regards to Kyrie Irving and now they traded James Harden for Ben Simmons. There was issue There was a word that Ben Simmons didn't want to play during the playoffs. Kevin Durant wants to I'm losing my breath here, Mikey. I mean, what is going on in Brooklyn these days? What have you heard out of training camp?
I mean, I covered all of it all through and through. I read every single comment section on every post. Everybody's what the hell is going on with that team? It's a lot of me players. You know what I mean? You got Kyrie, KD. KD already won his championship now. It just seems like I don't know. He's just not gelling with his teammates. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's just not going to do it. But it seems like he's just going to cater to the Nets this year because they couldn't trade him. Yeah, then there's the Ben Simmons situation. It seems like he's in relatively good spirits now. It seems like last playoff seems like he wasn't at all with Steve Nash and all those guys there and Kyrie in the mix. Oh my God, like you said, it's never ending. But I think Brooklyn won't be a top three team in the East. I would say because of all those egos will kind of hurt them. I could see like maybe a fifth seed and probably collapsing in the playoffs again. I mean, the Celtics swept them. The Nets could have easily taken a game. You have an all-time talent in Kevin Durant, a probably top 75 player of all time in Kyrie Irving, and you can't steal one game. Are you kidding me? That it was sad.
Well, I mean, you kind of glossed over and mentioned Steve Nash, but it was during the offseason where Kevin Durant reportedly went to ownership and demanded Steve Nash and Sean Marks, the GM, to be fired. That didn't happen. There was word that that Durant was being shopped, the Raptors being one of them. But with all of the noise that happened, nothing happened. And
Yeah.
I really would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see Nash call that first scrimmage there, but during practice. But uh, do you think that Brooklyn can overcome I guess specifically between KD and Nash, if you want to throw in Joe Tsai, the owner, do you think they're going to let bygones be bygones over there?
I, I, I think winning. I think winning is the formula. I think winning is the medicine that'll make that relationship heal a little bit. You start losing, you get all these rumors about Kyrie if he's going to play, if he's vaccinated or not. Is Ben Simmons going to play? It's just there's just rifts through the media that they all see, and that puts a sour taste in all of their mouths. So I think a fresh slate in 22, 23, winning, we'll solve all of it, I think. And to touch on the Raptors, Randy, because I'm sure you're going to go there because this is our third interview. You always touch on the Raptors.
Well, I don't know what you're talking
I,
about.
I, I think it's the best case scenario for you guys that you didn't go after KD. It would have cost way too much. Scotty Barnes, your little, token rookie last year, he would have been gone. Your first round draft picks gone. Probably they'd probably want Gary Trent Jr. in there too because their ask was so much. Another great young player gone. So I like what you guys are doing there. I think KD getting thrown in the mix, him and Siakam wouldn't play good together. So I think it's the best scenario that it didn't happen for you guys.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and it's funny. I did have a roundtable with some. We were talking basketball. We were talking about the Raptors, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant made it known that he was a Raptors fan, more than likely a Vince Carter fan from back in the day. And on the surface, I mean, Kevin Durant is probably one of the best players in league history. But he is, if he's not 35, he's just about to be 35. He is owed over $100 million between now and when his contract's over 4 years from now, so he'll be 39. He went through an Achilles rupture, lo and behold, in Toronto. And yeah, if the ask was Scotty Barnes, maybe Pascal Siakam, Lord knows how many picks.
Yeah.
On the surface, yeah, sure. Kevin Durant would look great in a Raptors uniform. But if you're giving up the future, I mean, hey, Brooklyn did that once before. We just mentioned it. Tatum and Brown are in Boston, so because of Garnett and Paul Pierce. I mean, was there a possibility, of Brooklyn thinking about? Now, I know that Miami was in the mix, Phoenix was in the mix. Was there talk about New York from? If there was, it wasn't really overly as pronounced as, say, the Phoenixes, Miami's, Toronto's, etc.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even I'd say close to verified. It was more like, gossip New York websites and gossip reporters looking, fishing for views and retweets. I would say that's the degree of KD coming to the Knicks around that time. Yeah, I thought Phoenix. I didn't think Miami. I thought Phoenix or Toronto. I thought Phoenix could have a good ask with, like, let's say Cam Johnson, a lot of picks, and maybe Mikal Bridges and another young player. But I don't know. I don't think Phoenix would do that, and because of KD's history, like you said, his age and everything like that. It just, I don't know, man. They would have depleted their whole bench, their whole defensive side of the ball.
Well, I mean, not that he was being rumored to go back there, but if you want to talk about draft capital and
Okay,
where
see,
that's right, Oklahoma City. I mean, how ironic would that be of wanting out in Brooklyn after
the thing is,
completely
like you were saying, say with Toronto, you said, have to get rid of Siakam, Scotty Barnes picks. Okay, if KD can't even win one playoff game with Kyrie Irving and the other, solid pieces on that Nets team last year, what makes you think he's going to win anything in Oklahoma City? What makes you think, Toronto gutting their team? Well, that doesn't mean they're going to win a championship. It's more just for sales and saying, "Oh, look, we have KD on the team now." It's just, it's not worth it. It's been done in the past, and it just shows that gutting a team, it's just not the move.
well, and it looks like Oklahoma City, and now I might be a couple years early, but they seem to have something going with Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, Giddy, and of course all of the prospects that they have behind. That being said, and focusing back on Brooklyn, Mikey, let's say they find the secret. Let's say that Kyrie and Simmons and KD have that kind of season. Let's say Nash is contending for an coach of the year. I don't know about the latter, but if things go well, you could see the Brooklyn Nets contend for an NBA championship.
Uh,
You're not
whew,
convinced. Yeah,
I'm not
you think the
convinced.
damage has been done?
Not even that the damage has been done. I think the rest of the league have just improved tremendously. The Nets are lacking some depth. I mean, they really don't even have a true big man right now. The smart thing to do, rather than signing a couple of the free agents that they did, I'm kind of losing track off the top of my head, but they weren't all that big. They weren't true big men. Like, you need, like, say Dwight Howard's a free agent right now. He would be a nice piece off the bench, play 20 minutes a night, grab 10 rebounds a night, and play defense. That's what the Nets need. I mean, they like to run small ball sometimes with KD at the five and other guys at the five. It just doesn't work. Like, I went to a few Nets games last season. It's like, if the Nets aren't scoring, they're letting up points. And if they're scoring, they're usually scoring a little more that they stay ahead. But the defense is just not there. And that's where I think Ben Simmons will come into play.
Right.
But in the interior, it's a cakewalk.
Yeah. So, yeah, and obviously, you may be, maybe right there, but I don't know if it's just that nothing. I don't think after everything that has happened in Brooklyn, either this year or since they moved there, nothing surprises me with that franchise. And if they go into the tank or if they have an incredible year, I'm not. I'm going to say that that's so Brooklyn in the
And
uh,
I'm here in Manhattan. Let's say 20 blocks away from where my Knicks play at Madison Square Garden, a couple
mhm.
miles away from the Barclays Center. There's a different grit in both teams. The Nets are, prima donnas to a point with KD and Kyrie going on Twitter and stuff like that and bantering and complaining or whatever, asking for trades. Then the Knicks are almost like the hardworking team right now, like RJ Barrett, great two-way defensive player. They're really, grounding their young guys, turning them into, future stars, hopefully, just doing it the right way, a little more hard-nosed than the Nets, a little more, okay, we know we're not that good, but if we work hard under Thibodeau and we really play defense, we could maybe, make the playoffs this year. And fans just buy into that way more than, all the drama in Brooklyn.
Well, it's funny that you bring up New York, and I was kind of curious in where you think things are leaning towards. What is I guess, what are Knicks fans expecting? I mean, we were going to talk about this in the end, but since you brought it up, like, where is Thibodeau in terms of what is expected? Are Knicks going to be patient? I mean, it has been a long time since New York, the Knicks have had playoff success, etc.
I'm
As you
Jalen
well
Brunson.
know.
I'm so excited. I mean, I already saw him the other night in the preseason drop like 16 points in 14 minutes. Jalen Brunson, he's going to be a great addition. We finally have a true point guard. 2 years ago, during that great season where they were like the fourth seed, Julius Randle almost MVP, Elfrid Payton was the starting point guard. Last year, they slip a little bit. RJ took a leap, but not the rest of the team. Alec Burks, a scoring shooting guard is running the point. Derrick Rose was out. They just didn't have a true point guard. Now we have a young star, Jalen Brunson, scoring, playmaker at the one. Really excited for that. A lot of young guys, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, bunch of other guys, Mitchell Robinson, Grimes is great. But back to Thibodeau, he's still a little not convinced about playing these young guys in big minutes. He said he won't play Obi Toppin and Randall together, won't really intertwine them. Evan Fournier is going to be the starter, while it should be Grimes. Fournier's like a traffic cone on defense. Grimes is a gritty two-way guy who could shoot the ball, who was probably the reason why Donovan Mitchell wasn't traded to New York, was Quentin Grimes. So he should really be getting the start over Evan Fournier, in my opinion. So Thibs is still hanging on to his veterans a little bit, and some fans don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it seems that Thibodeau is not in the hot seat, if you will, at this point. But who knows if the Knicks come out strong at the gate and have a decent run in the playoffs. Anything could happen for sure. But over to the other side of the continent, and from one storied franchise to another. You mentioned everything about the Lakers, how they had such a disappointing season. And I mean, there's a lot of big things expected in LA, but it's not with regards to the Lakers. I mean, obviously, you've seen us pictures of Kawhi Leonard these days. I mean, he looks like more of a beast than he did in years past. Of course, they have John Wall, Norman Powell. But anyway, back to the Lakers. And the first-year head coach Darvin Ham, apparently he does have the support of LeBron James for now. Do you think he's going to get a legitimate chance? Darvin Ham will, leading the Lakers.
So he is very, very highly regarded. He's an NBA champion, former player. It seems like NBA players like player coaches. It seems like they respect them a little more. Maybe not Steve Nash, but it's like Darvin Ham. He's a gritty guy. Like I said, a champion as a player, and I didn't mention he's a champion as an assistant in Milwaukee. So he does have a pretty, decorated career. And he's saying all the right things about Russell Westbrook. Giving him confidence, being okay with his mistakes. Just he has to clean it up and be the Russ that he once was. So he's saying all the right things. The Lakers, made some nice pieces in the offseason, a couple nice young draft picks coming in. It's almost like the Brooklyn Nets 2.0 over there, though. Is Anthony Davis going to stay healthy? Or Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook not going to fight? each other, in practice, all things like that, or some hypotheticals. I think they make the playoffs this year. I think they bounce back.
I have to ask, as a Knicks fan, how much does it hurt to see Carmelo Anthony in a Lakers jersey?
Well, he's a free agent right now, my friend.
Oh,
It
sure, but
was
last
tough.
year, excuse me.
It was a little tough, but I think the Knicks should bring back Melo right now, and I think it's a sin that him and Dwight Howard aren't in the NBA right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously what Carmelo Anthony had accomplished, and I saw something where he kind of excelled in Portland, and obviously
Yeah,
he took a step back in LA.
yeah, but I
Um,
wouldn't even call it a step back. He averaged like 12 points per game, maybe 44% shooting. I mean, what more can you ask from, say, a 38-year-old guy off the bench? I mean, think he'd average 10 right now for a team off the bench, and I'm perfectly fine with that if he wants to come home to MSG.
are they a playoff team, LA? Play-in tournament?
Yeah. I think at worst the playing. I don't think they're going to slip and really be that pathetic again like that.
Well, no, it is kind of unusual to not see LeBron James, let alone in an NBA final, but of course not making the playoffs. And are they going to be able to have a successful 22-23 season? Mikey, I did really want to chat with you and congratulate you on a great interview you did with Aaron Showtime Taylor. For those of you who are not aware of Taylor's story, he was convicted of armed robbery and had a life sentence in San Quentin prison because of said armed robbery. I mentioned that he had and really opened up to you. It was just really emotional to see how open he was, to say that he was pretty much hit rock bottom. And then he found like a rejuvenation
Mm-hmm.
by calling basketball games in the San Quentin prison yard. And lo and behold, he found himself as a guest PA announcer for the Warriors during the 21 season. Congratulations on a great on some great work there. How did you hear about his story, Mikey? And how excited were you to have him on NBA Buzz?
Yeah, well, first, Randy, of course, I appreciate the kind words, as always. Where did I hear about him? I mean, kind of when he went viral, right outside of the pandemic. I think it was 2021. Like you mentioned, the Warriors brought him in to be a guest PA announcer. A couple months after he got out of prison, he had that connection to the Warriors, and that night, I posted it on NBA Buzz. It kind of went viral on NBA Buzz itself, along with how it was being received across the league and on social channels and stuff like that. And he followed. So he's been an NBA Buzz follower since that day.
That's cool.
And, I congratulated him on all the success, that day, and, thanked him for following and everything like that. And I said, we'll do something soon. Then just life happens and other guests come up and I kind of forget about them. And I thought one day he posted something. I'm like, oh, Aaron Showtime Taylor, I gotta get him on the show. So he was so willing, so happy that I messaged him, and so thankful that I had him on my show. He was, he's telling me he's going to give me all the best stories because of my 3 million follower audience. He's like, oh, I'm giving you all the good stories. I'm like, okay. But no, he gave a great hour and a half ish interview. We covered a lot of topics about, life, basketball in prison. That day with the Warriors, when the Warriors would visit San Quentin and how he developed that relationship. So it was all good stuff. And I think a big thing from that is, yeah, like you mentioned, he hit rock bottom, but I'll kind of say something my grandfather always tells me. It's like, you're never lucky. You just create your own luck based off like the hard work you do. So how I see it, Aaron Showtime Taylor, rather than boo-hooing in a prison cell all day, he took it upon himself to fall in love with basketball again, call games, created his own luck to be, the voice of prison basketball. And then the Golden State Warriors come in and they see what he's doing. He's creating his own luck every time where he got out. And there they are calling him to be a guest PA announcer. And now he's kind of, intertwined with pro basketball and basketball in California. So all his hard work is credited to that. And it really was a special story. You could find it on, Inside Buzz on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you want to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend if you haven't taken a listen to that interview to do yourself a favor and take a listen to it. Like I loved how Showtime mentioned Doc Emmerich. I mean, obviously as a Canadian, I have a big appreciation for hockey, and he mentioned how the Sega Genesis video game, which I actually I had as well when I was a younger guy, and I mean, who hasn't hit a low point? Like my rock bottom didn't include crime and drug use and such, which Showtime had mentioned to you, but I definitely had a couple of low points. And I just love what your grandfather said about creating luck. And knock on wood, I'm in a great position professionally. And yeah, no, rather than boo-hooing in my room, just making the most out of an opportunity. It's so truthful for anybody who's out there who's not seeing the good fortune that they think that they should have.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And he always tells me that because of certain opportunities I get, and you know, in the media world and people I interview and stuff like that. He says if you didn't put in this 11-ish years of NBA buzz, this stuff wouldn't be happening. So yeah, it's all good stuff.
Absolutely. Like, did you take was there a specific takeaway from Showtime that you were left with?
Yeah, I would say on two different fronts. One front, the NBA front, I would say, is when Draymond, he told a story about when the Warriors and Draymond Green came to San Quentin, and Draymond's in there playing like dice and whatever he was playing with the inmates and talking smack to them, and saying he'd bet money if such and such happens, and just more like a human element of that story, and more like everything he was saying about fellow inmates who he knows who have turned it around, like himself, who are waiting on their sentence, waiting on their parole, that he's seen and been a part of groups of rehabilitation. I think that's good for people to hear, so there's not that narrative, which there is a narrative about ex-cons back on the streets. It doesn't always work out. I mean, it's a fact that it doesn't, but then there's stories like Aaron Showtime Taylor, and he proves that rehabilitation through the prison system can be successful. And he's kind of out there talking about how more people need to clean up their act and knock off their street mentality and thinking who they are and whatnot, and landing themselves in prison isn't cool. And he did 26 years, and he'll tell you that. So that's what I took from it, the rehabilitation process.
Yeah, it's really easy to feel sorry for ourselves, but for those who are able to find that strength to try and overcome, they'll always be a winner. I couldn't agree more. So, Mikey, I just want to thank you so much. I mean, you're doing this while you're on your dinner break. I do want to end things off with a little bit of fun, like we've had in the past. We're gonna have a little rapid fire segment, but you were always a great. You're always a great a sport when it comes to a little trivia question that I have. And without further ado, I do want to present to you. Now, I'm showing Mikey. Now, unfortunately, it's a little difficult to get a focus here, but this is, in fact, a Canadian $2 coin. I'm not sure how much you use dollar bills in your regular day-to-day life, but in Canada, we have a $2 coin, a $1 coin, and like in the United States, quarter, dime. nickel. We don't have a penny, actually. We got rid of that. But
Uh, uh,
this this $2 coin has a nickname. And Mikey Domagala, I'm wondering if you know what this nickname is. There is a
I
link. I
have
will give you. I will give you a hint. There is a link to the $1 coin. Uh, if you know what that nickname of the $1 coin is in Canada.
Randy. I have no idea, my friend. Absolutely none. I can't even muster together a guess.
So, have you heard of the term the loonie in Canada? That's the $1 coin. Have you ever heard of that before?
All I know is Kevon Looney on Golden State.
Well,
No,
in
but no, I haven't. I haven't actually.
Okay, so the $1 coin is nicknamed the loonie. The $2 coin, lo and behold, is the toonie. So I don't know how much I don't know if credit cards are just overtaking our paper currency and our coins and so on. We did get rid of the penny, and I don't think a lot of people are missing that. But anyway, Mikey, no, thanks so much for playing another edition of Canadian Trivia. But on to our on to our rapid fire segment. I like to call it Big Deal, No Big Deal. You did touch on Donovan Mitchell and whether he was potentially coming to the New York Knicks. I obviously he has an incredible regular season resume. However, he is somebody that has only won two playoff series, Mikey. If Donovan Mitchell came to the New York Knicks, would that have been a big deal or no big deal?
Really depends on who it's for. I mean, you get rid of RJ Barrett, it's no big deal at all because it would be the same old Knicks. RJ Barrett averages 22 a game. We'll be trade that off, for picks and other players for 27 points per game, 25 points per game. So there wouldn't be much of a difference. RJ even plays more defense. So if it's, a swap at RJ, no. It would have been a big deal if the Knicks, maybe catered to the pick side of it. You know, and pairing Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett together. That's a big deal. But Randy, do you really want to get rid of your whole future for not winning a championship? Because I will say it right now, if Donovan Mitchell came, the Knicks would not have won a championship. So I'm totally fine with what happened.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to end up and how much of a difference maker Donovan Mitchell would be for the Cavaliers. Uh, they of course Cleveland did have a pretty strong season, but is that cohesion with a Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, is there too many hands in the cookie jar? It'll be interesting to see what happens in Cleveland. We did talk about Kevin Durant and if he was to become a Toronto Raptor, was there talk of him being a New York Knick? You did mention that you are excited about the New York Knicks, Mikey. Where do you think the Raptors are going to finish up? Of course, it was a pretty impressive season last year, getting to fourth. Of course, they didn't make it past the first round. Where's Toronto going to be finishing up, Mikey?
I can see like a 5 or 6 seed. Scotty Barnes really going to take that next step this year. I'm actually really excited. His first game, it looked like he was comfortable already, and he was, has that NBA body where he could shoot and dunk all over people and rebound. I think he's going to be a great young player. I could see like a 5-6 seed.
Yeah,
Curious,
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that last one?
I'm curious to know what you think.
Yeah, no, I'm really intrigued and curious about how Scotty Barnes is going to overcome the sophomore jinx, if you will. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more eyes on him, and he can't do it alone. And I really do believe that Pascal Siakam is one of those pieces that didn't so much rely on the likes of Kawhi Leonard. I think he is creating his own footprint as a real star in the league. And with Fred VanVleet, another year leading as a point guard. You think that they do have a foundation with finals experience to why can't they get first home court advantage during the first round? I'm thinking if it's between 4 and 6, I think if they do go below 6, I think it will be a disappointment.
Mm. That's a good point about Siakam because he really did take a huge step at the end of last season. I feel like what did he have? Like 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, and like a bunch of games straight at the end of the year. I feel like I remember posting. He really carried them. That's a good point about championship experience because the league doesn't have that. Especially, so many players mishmashed around over the last couple of years. There's still a lot of champions from that 2019 team still on the roster. So that mixed with the young kids, Gary Trent Jr., one of my favorite players, sharpshooting defender. Yeah, I can see it. 4, 4, 5, 6.
So yeah, no, it's definitely going to be an exciting season between your Knicks and my Raptors. And we have talked about basketball from moment one, but you are a big baseball fan. You are a Yankees fan, and of course, history. And I'm going to use quote unquote history was made. As Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run, the most home runs in American League history. As a Yankees fan, how enamored were you as Judge, pursued Maris's home run record? Was that a big deal or no big deal?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd say from like 58 to 62, every time he hit it, I'd jump out of my seat. It's huge. I mean, the Yankees should make him part owner, throw every kind of dollar amount they can at him to keep him in New York, make him the new captain, because he really is, a Derek Jeter like figure off the field and a clean Barry Bonds figure on the field. So it was a big deal around here, Randy. Everybody at my job, my parents, everywhere you look, if the Yankees are on, everybody's like, "Oh my God, Judge is up! Turn on Yes Network to let's watch them." So it was a huge deal.
Yeah, okay, look, I know it was a big deal in New York and throughout Major League Baseball, but I'm just saying to myself, and now look, I want to think that I could take myself out of the fan in me, the rival that is the New York Yankees division rival, but this is not the Major League record. Like there is no other sport where a conference record is under the spotlight like this, Mikey.
Yes, but remember, he is a New York Yankee.
Yes,
Derek Jeter is not the greatest shortstop of all time,
is not the
but,
great. Okay.
but I'll say it again, but he's a New York Yankee, so the spotlight is always bigger. It's just always bigger and better in New York. So Judge doing it in front of the New York fan base, it's just a huge deal. Looking at the history of the Yankees, look at all the legends. He had to pass Babe Ruth, Roger Maris to get there, and alone for the franchise. Now look league wide for the conference. It's big. It's a big deal. But I see both sides. A lot of non-Yankee fans aren't thinking it's a big stink, but right. It is, especially because he batted 315. I mean, stole about 20 bases. He's winning MVP. Ohtani, not this year. So Judge did it the right way. He didn't bat 220. He batted 320, and it was just a fantastic season.
Well, I wonder what is more outrageous. The whole pursuit to 62 and the attention that took that Judge had with regards to the chase to 62, or this notion that Aaron Judge is going to leave New York. I'm sorry. Like when I am hearing, oh, he is potentially going to go to Boston. Look, put it in a basketball perspective. I didn't for 1 second think Giannis was going to leave Milwaukee. To me, this is Giannis leaving Milwaukee times 100. There is
Yes.
no way Aaron Judge is going to leave New York, will he?
That's kind of how I see it. He's like a staple in the history. He's the next team captain to come up if he resigns, most likely. The only team would be the Giants, San Francisco Giants, where he grew up, his hometown team. That's the only thing I see. But I think he's too sewn into the fabric of the New York Yankees to just get up and go. I think I think he loves it here.
Yeah, no, and you could tell that he's a great ambassador, not only for Major League Baseball, but specifically the New York Yankees. Mikey, thank you so much for everything. Very quickly, where can basketball fans find your incredible content?
Yeah, of course. Follow NBA Buzz on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On Instagram and Twitter, it's at official NBA Buzz. Check out Inside Buzz on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify for 45-ish interviews with former players, all kinds of NBA personnel. And yeah, Randy, that's about it. And I appreciate you supporting me. I see you every day in the comment section. So it's always great to see you engaging that way. And then, jumping on these podcasts with you is always fun.
No, I really, really appreciate it. And I mean, it's always a great back and forth and the engagement that you can create with the posts that you post. And Mikey, with everything that you have on your plate, I am so incredibly grateful for you, for our friendship. Truth be told, I did look at tickets to see the Knicks and the Raptors. I would love to go with you, but I'm gonna have to take a second mortgage on my house. Maybe I have to wait till springtime, and maybe we could catch a Jays Yankees game. Although it may not be as I may not be saving any money, but I'm actually going to be in Washington D.C. in a couple weeks, and I know that's a little too far from you. But one of these days, you and I are going to lift the glass because I owe you a big one. Mikey Domagala, I couldn't thank you enough.
Randy, it'll be on me. Don't worry. I'll take care. But no, yeah, let's definitely catch a New York Yankees or Knicks game whenever you come by. I'm more than happy to meet you, in the flesh rather than over Zoom.
Excellent, excellent. His name is Mikey Domagala. He is owner and founder of NBA Buzz, Inside Buzz. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Randy Kure. This is What's Up the Sports Podcast. I am found on Facebook and Instagram at What's Up Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you are doing well and keeping safe. And we'll talk to you next time.